Okay, welcome back to you guys. Good morning. Nice to see everyone here. Welcome to everyone online as well. Today we're going to start with meditation like we've been doing each day. We're going to do the loving kindness meditation. Yesterday, I had you guys do the breathing mindfulness meditation on your own, and I did the loving kindness meditation with you. I'm going to be here meditating, but today I'm going to let you do everything on your own. All I'm going to do is chanting on the way in. You do your breathing mindfulness, you do your loving kindness, then you go back to your breathing mindfulness, and then we're going to come out with the chanting. Remember, the loving kindness meditation, you like to customize it for your specific needs, including individuals that you have loving kindness for, to bubble that up, people that you're more neutral about, and then people that you have anger and hatred and resentment towards, that you dislike them, right? And that's going to help you to wear that away. Then go back to your breathing mindfulness meditation, and we'll come out with the chanting. Then I'm going to share this topic with you, just a short little topic about the path to enlightenment and practicing the path to enlightenment in the workplace, because you might be practicing singleness of mind, but your coworkers may not be, and this is where you can have a real challenge. You're sitting there typing out an email and someone barges into your office. How do you deal with that, right? So I'm going to help you guys with those kinds of things. Then I'm going to teach you a topic of the art of the friendly no, how to say no without saying no. This is going to help you to navigate the world with unenlightened beings, because that's one of the things that the Buddha does, is he teaches you not only how to train your mind to get to this enlightened mental state and eliminate craving, desire, attachment, but he's also teaching you how to navigate a world where people have extensive amounts of craving, desire, attachment. So this particular topic is going to help you to be able to understand that. Then if you guys would like, we'll probably finish up around 11, I would say, maybe earlier, maybe later. If you'd like, we can go out for a group lunch and have a nice lunch together. And as I was sharing earlier, we have the movie night at 6 p.m. tonight, where I'm going to show a documentary about the life story of the Buddha. We're going to have our popcorn machine going. We have our snack bars loaded up. You guys loaded that up yesterday. Perfect timing for our movie night. So we'll have a good time this evening with our movie night. So again, I'm going to do the chanting on the way in. You guys are on your own for meditation, okay? And then we'll get started after that with the class. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Bhutang Bhagavanang Abhivateyami Savakato Bhagavata Tammo Dhammang Namasami Supatipano Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Sanghang Namami Namo Rasa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Rasa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Rasa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Iti piso Bhagava Arahang Samma Sambuddho Vicacaranang Sammuno Sakato Rokavitu Anutero Purisa Dhamma Sati Satatawa Manusanang พุทโธภาควาติ อะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธมะคะวาโพตังมะคะวันนังอภิวาเทมิสวากขาโตภะคะวะตาธัมโมธัมมังนัมสสามิสุปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆสังฆังนามามินะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะอิติปิโสภะคะวะอะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธวิชาจารนังสัมมุโนสกาโตโรกาวิตุอนุเตโรปุริสาดามาสติสัตตาตาวามนุสนังโอโตภะคะวะติ Okay, if you guys would like to slowly make your way out of meditation. Okay, once again, good morning to all of you guys. I'm going to share this topic with you about the path to enlightenment, practicing the path in the workplace. If you are only practicing the teachings of the Buddha in your personal life, you would actually not get to enlightenment. You're going to need to practice the teachings in your work environment too. If you have a job or you're doing any kind of work, you're going to need to practice the teachings there as well. The teachings of the Buddha in getting to enlightenment, it's all encompassing. It's not like you just do it in your personal life. You actually are practicing them in your professional life as well. And this is actually what's helping you to develop your professional life more and more and more, where you can get to a point where you're living the ideal life and it doesn't even feel like work anymore. You're just experiencing nothing but peace and joy in all aspects of your life, including work. Oftentimes people really despise work and going to work, but it doesn't have to be like that. You can actually enjoy the work that you're doing. You don't have to despise what you do on a day-to-day basis. And if you have that right now, it's okay. That's where you're at. But ultimately what you would like to do is get to the point where your mind is even peaceful and joyful while you're doing work as well. You can actually enjoy what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. So I'm going to help you guys to understand this topic of how to practice the teachings in the workplace. And as we go, just like always, you're welcome to ask questions here at the temple. If you guys could use the microphones, and online, you can put your questions into Facebook, YouTube, or Zoom in the comment section, or in Zoom, you can raise your hand and ask any questions electronically by just unmuting your microphone. So I never know who's going to be in any of these talks that I share because people coming and going all the time. So I need to make sure with each talk that I share this very important point that you need to acquire wisdom, right? That's the real basis of any aspect of the path to enlightenment, is learning, examining, and investigating his teachings, reflecting on his teachings to independently verify them, and then practicing them, integrating them into your day-to-day life. And that's where you see the truth. That's where your wisdom is really cultivated. Because sitting in a classroom talking about the teachings is wonderful, but That's only the intellectual learning. That's the examination. And then you can do some reflection while you're in the classroom as well. But then you need to actually be practicing the teachings. That's where you can see the truth for yourself. So you're going to need to acquire wisdom. And you're going to need to do meditation and practice generosity as part of practicing in the workplace. Sometimes when we work and we have projects and there's a lot of deadlines maybe that your company has for you, sometimes what people do is they start to walk away from meditation. Things like meditation. It's like if you have a limited period of time in your day, sometimes the very best things that are the most helpful for you, people tend to eliminate those first, where it actually is just the opposite. The busier you are at work, the more projects that you have, the more demands and deadlines that you have, you should be dedicating more time to meditation, because that's what's going to help you with all of those things. So don't give up on your meditation practice just because you have a certain amount of deadlines or certain projects that you need to complete. You need to still be committed to your meditation and doing that each day. When I was in the work environment and I was working at a company, I would find places to meditate. This one company I worked at, they had little rooms. They were called lactation rooms for women to pump breast milk for people who had just had babies. And I would go into those rooms and do meditation. Sometimes I would even go into the bathroom and I would sit on the toilet with my clothes on and I would actually meditate in the stall of the bathroom. So you can do these kinds of things, right? You can find places to meditate even while you're at work. You can go out to your car for lunchtime, do some meditation in your car, things like this. So you can find places to meditate. And it's important that you're doing those 2 to 3 sessions per day for 30 minutes or more. That's what you would like to gradually build up to. Having loving kindness in the morning is wonderful. And then breathing mindfulness meditation, maybe in the evening, and then somewhere in the middle, if you can get another breathing mindfulness meditation, and wonderful. But that's not to say you can't do loving kindness meditation at any other time during your day too. Because let's just say you get a phone call at 2 p.m. in the afternoon and you're noticing all this anger coming up in your mind. You could do loving kindness meditation. That's going to help you with that. So you can really develop the type of meditation practice that is needed for you. When you're practicing generosity in the work environment, which is something that you're going to need to do, that's going to be helpful for you. You would like to do this with everybody equally. I gave you some examples of that where we were talking about equanimity. Like say you were going to bring in a cake and there's like 300 people in your company. You can't feed 300 people maybe a cake. Maybe you can't afford that. So what you can do is you can put this cake in the conference room and you can send out an email to the whole company and say, hey, I brought in a cake for everybody. It's in the conference room. Please enjoy, right? This can be your generosity. And the first 25 people or 50 people that show up, they get cake, but the other people, they made the choice not to come early. And now it's their choice that led to any particular result of not having cake. And now you've practiced equanimity where you've practiced fairly, treating everybody equally. So you're going to need to practice generosity in the work environment, not only with things like cake and bagels and donuts. You can do these kinds of things, but you can also share your time. Say there's a certain project or a certain task that you're not even assigned to, and it's not even your responsibility. You could help out your coworkers with that. If you have extra time in your day, you could actually help them. That's sharing your time, your effort, your energy, right? So you can do it that way as well. So practicing meditation and generosity in the workplace is really important. The Buddha's teachings are teaching you how to get to enlightenment, and he teaches you things like elimination of complacency. This is part of the 5 hindrances. If you were complacent with developing your practice to get to enlightenment, you wouldn't actually get to enlightenment. Complacency is like dullness, lethargic, lack of motivation, lack of initiative, lack of enthusiasm, right? So if you had that related to reading books, coming to the temple, meditating, talking with your teacher, things like this, you wouldn't be able to get to enlightenment. So the Buddha teaches you to eliminate complacency by arising the enlightenment factor of investigation and energy. That's what's going to bring your mind to the middle, where you can now practice developing the understanding of the teachings through acquiring wisdom. So anytime you see complacency related to the teachings of the Buddha, you would like to jump on that as quick as possible and eliminate it, because the longer you allow your mind to stay in complacency, the harder it is to get it out of that. So if you miss meditation here or there, that's normal. That's what people end up doing. You know, if you do meditation twice a day, for example, because I recommend 2 or 3, that would be 60 in a month. But if you get 52, 53, 54, 55 in a month, you're making your way to enlightenment. Your enlightenment is not going to be determined based on whether you missed meditation today or not. Your enlightenment is going to be determined is if you missed meditation today, what do you do next? Do you allow that to be 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 month, 1 year that you're not meditating? Yeah, you're not going to get to enlightenment. But if you miss meditation in one particular session and you're like, oh man, I missed meditation, let me get right back on that. And now you start meditating, you'll make your way to enlightenment. So while you would like to aim and shoot for a goal of 60 meditations in a month, if you get 54, 55, you'll still make your way to enlightenment. So this complacency needs to be eliminated in respect to the path to enlightenment. That you're reading, you're coming to classes, you're consulting with your teacher, you're meditating and things like that. But you can take these same teachings that the Buddha is teaching you about how to progress on the path to enlightenment, and you can apply it to your work environment too, about how to progress in your work environment. If you are complacent in your work, in your professional life, it's not going to lead to growth and development in your professional life. Just like if you were complacent on the path to enlightenment, it's not going to lead to growth and progress on the path to enlightenment. So if you got a certain project, say on Monday, and the boss says, hey, this is due on Friday, I need you to get it back to me by Friday, and you can knock this thing out in like 3, 4, 5 hours, no need to wait until Thursday or Friday morning to start working on it, because you don't know what impermanence is going to happen between Monday and Friday. No need to do that. Hey, knock it out on Monday, knock it out on Tuesday, and that way you've got the whole rest of the week to do other things or help your coworkers or whatever it is. You don't have to have your back up against the wall on Thursday or Friday trying to get this project done, because it might not be as easy as you think. So don't allow your mind to be complacent as it applies to any of your work. Be diligent and dedicated, having enthusiasm and ambition to do your work, showing initiative in your projects and your work. It's important that you practice right livelihood. This is something we talked about with the Eightfold Path on Monday. If you're practicing wrong livelihood, you're going to be causing harm in your livelihood. And now that harm is going to come back to you. So the Buddha teaches you about these 5 livelihoods that would cause harm if you were to practice them. Business and weapons, living beings, meat, substances that cause heedlessness, and poisons. And I showed you how to independently verify that this is the truth, because these aren't rules or commandments. This is the natural law of Gotama. The Buddha is showing you the cause and effect, that if you have any livelihoods that are like this, it's going to cause harm in the world because you're sustaining your life off of causing harm to other beings, and this harm is going to come back to you. We used substance that cause heedlessness as an example. I talked about if I stood on the street corner selling drugs, how I could get robbed or murdered or beat up. I can get addicted to these substances. I can get arrested. We talked about, that the natural law of Gotama is much higher law than the laws of society, where the laws of society, the government might say, yeah, you can go work at that liquor store and be a cashier. We're not going to arrest you for that. But if you know the natural law of Gotama, you know that that's very unwise, because those people tend to get robbed. They sometimes get beat up. They get murdered for working in those kinds of places. And at the very least, they're going to be dealing with intoxicated individuals over and over and over again as part of their livelihood. And how can you get to peace and joy if you're working in a livelihood where you're constantly having to deal with intoxicated people? But you could take each one of these other livelihoods and you can see through your independent reflection, independent verification, that these are also harmful. Like we have some great examples right now of people who are in the business of weapons and they're constantly getting assassinated and killed. You can see it all over the news, right? It's happening all over the place. So you can take each one of these and independently verify it. So you'd like to have a livelihood that isn't one of these 5. Then you would like to look at how you're performing your livelihood. The scheming, flattering, hinting, belittling, and pursuing gain with gain. This is to ensure that you're not having craving, desire, attachment in your work, and that you're performing your livelihood in a way that's going to produce wholesome results. Because if I was a politician, I'm not causing any harm to anyone if I'm a mayor of a town or I'm a lawmaker. But if I was scheming, if I was corrupt in doing that, people are going to find out 10, 15 years into my career, and now they won't reelect me, and I have difficulty sustaining my life. And then you can go through all of these. I went through all of them on Monday, helping you guys to understand them. And this is called the first fold of purification. If you get up and running to this level, where you're practicing what the Buddha is teaching you here, you're going to experience a certain amount of peacefulness and joy in your livelihood. But then you need to get to the second fold of purification, which is in volume 12, chapter 14. So if you're in between jobs or you're in a job that you don't particularly care for, I suggest you look at that chapter. Chapter 12 or volume 12, chapter 14, that's where the Buddha has additional teachings where he shares with you the second fold of purification, how to make sure there isn't any pollutions in your mind as it relates to your livelihood. We talked about the lady who sells mango and sticky rice on the corner, how she's so pleased to pick those mangoes every day and serve you the mango and sticky rice. And I encouraged you to find your mango and sticky rice, because that's what's going to get you to a right livelihood, because you need to have enthusiasm and ambition and thoroughly enjoy the work that you do. Of course, you're going to need to get paid for whatever it is that you do, because that's what's going to help you sustain your life. But you would like to get to a point where you enjoy this livelihood so much that you would do it even if you didn't get paid for it. That's how much you really enjoy this work that you're doing. So it doesn't even feel like work anymore. It's just something that you do each day because you enjoy doing it. So that's what you need to get to, is that right livelihood. It's not just going to poof and pop out of the sky. It's not like you can just sit somewhere for 10 minutes and think about it. Sometimes what you need to do is you need to go through some different livelihoods and try out some different things and decide whether or not that feels comfortable for you or not. You might go through 5, 6, 10, 12, 20 different jobs before you find out what is it that is really, truly connecting with you, and you feel really good about doing this particular work each and every day. You would like to thoroughly enjoy whatever product or service that you're offering to the world. It's like a complement to your practice of getting to enlightenment, that you're able to practice loving kindness and compassion and sympathetic joy and equanimity and all these other teachings in your livelihood on a daily basis, and thoroughly enjoy it. So this is part of right livelihood that we talked about, and I went through all of these in detail. Remember that when you're in your work environment, your mind can only do one thing at a time. We talked about this in relationship to right concentration, that it's important to practice singleness of mind. I talked about that piece of wood and that steel that you drag back and forth, that steel rod, and you like to create that groove for yourself, so that initially the steel rod's going to bounce around, but as you practice singleness of mind more and more, you're going to get a deeper and deeper groove. And when it pops out, you're going to know that. And you're going to be able to bring the mind right back to that groove. But then if you drag your steel rod back and forth on this wood enough, you're going to get a deep enough groove that it'll never pop out. So it's the same thing with your mind, that if you practice singleness of mind enough, that eventually your mind will just always be concentrated. It'll be no effort to have a concentrated mind. But if you're running around like a racehorse, you're not going to be able to relax. You're not going to be able to focus. You're not going to be able to have concentration. So when you're in your work environment, let's just say you're typing out an email or you're on the phone and somebody barges into your office like, hey, I need your help. Well, in that situation, you would be wise to do just one thing at a time. You're not interested in typing out your email and talking to your coworker at the same time, because your mind's having to flip back and forth between these things. You need to put one of these things on pause. And what I would suggest you do is that you put the person who barged into your office on pause, right? And you just finish out your thought with your email, or you finish up your phone call. And then when you're done, then you address the person who's barged into your office. Because if every time somebody barges into your office, you address them, you're teaching your coworkers, hey, just barge into my office and I'll talk to you right away as soon as you come in, right? So you're going to need to function in a way that you're making decisions that tells people about you and how you actually make decisions. It would be unwise to overtly go out into the world and try to tell all your coworkers, all 100 of them, all 300, don't barge into my office. If I'm on the phone, don't come in. Do it this way, do it that way. This will be putting your expectations on other people. But you can function in a way that just is making choices about how you choose to interact in the world. And slowly but surely, the people around you will learn about this, and then they will function accordingly. There was a period of time where when I first started teaching, I would be in my room, and I still do this, where I have an office set up there, and I actually see students privately. I talk with them on Zoom and help them with these teachings on a one-on-one basis. And there were times where my son would come barging into my room. Dad, I need your help. I need your help. And I would just continue to talk to the student. I would just ignore him. And he would just be sitting there and he'd kind of want my attention. And I would just keep talking to the student. I would just pretend like he wasn't even there. And slowly but surely, maybe 3 minutes, 5 minutes, if he was still standing there, I might say, do you mind if I help my son with something? And they say, sure, go ahead. So then I would address my son. He was like, Dad, I have an emergency. I need your help. I need your help. I'm like, what is it, son? He's like, my batteries in my remote control ran out. I need some new batteries. I was like, this isn't an emergency. I'll take care of that with you later. But there's some batteries over here. If you'd like to get them, go take care of them. Right. So slowly but surely, what he learned each time he barged in was Dad's not going to address you as soon as you walk into the room. And now he doesn't barge into the room anymore because he did that maybe 10, 12, 15 times before he learned that Dad doesn't talk to you when you walk into the room and you just barge in like that. So now he doesn't do that. So if you function this way, where you just make decisions about how you choose to interact with people in the world, they will learn how you do that, and then they will tend to interact with you like that. So I never went to him, and I never said, like, don't barge into my room, and I'm on the phone, or I'm on Zoom with students, and you should do this, and you should do it this way, and you should do it that way. I didn't do that. I just functioned in a way that is the way that I'm interested in interacting with people, and then he gradually learned that on his own through seeing that Dad doesn't address you as soon as you walk into the room. So doing just one thing at a time is going to help your mind to stay focused, and it's going to help your coworkers to be able to understand that you just do one thing at a time, that you're not going to sit there and write out an email and talk to them, or you're not going to be on the phone and talk to them. And you'll see less and less people will be barging into your office and demanding your time. So practicing singleness of mind is really important, doing just one thing at a time and having just one task at a time. When you're multitasking, you're not actually multitasking. You're actually writing out an email, you're then talking on the phone, you're then addressing something else. Your mind's racing around like a racetrack. You would like to just do one thing at a time. When you're done with that thing, then move to the other thing. Okay? And interacting with just one person at a time. If your mind is calm, you'll have access to your mindfulness or awareness of mind. You'll have concentration, and then you'll be able to make wise decisions. You're going to need to make wise decisions in all parts of your life in order to be able to get to enlightenment. It's not just your personal life. You're going to need to make wise decisions in your professional life as well, because you're going to need to apply this natural law of Gotama in your work environment. Well, if your mind is all shaken up, if it's uncalm, you're not going to have mindfulness or awareness of mind. You're not going to have concentration or focus, and you're not going to be able to access your wisdom in making wise decisions. So you need to be able to make sure that your mind is calm. So if you're in a business meeting and you're noticing the anger and frustration starting to come up, you're going to need to cut that off and let it go. And if you need to excuse yourself and go to the bathroom to kind of regain your composure a little bit, because that's an easy way to get out of a meeting for 5 minutes, to just go gain your composure, you can do that, right? You'd be like, excuse me for a moment. I need to go take care of something. I'll be back. Because you notice that anger coming up and it's not the proper time to talk. With the 5 factors of well-spoken speech, you like to speak at the proper time. What you say is true, gentle, beneficial, and with a mind of loving kindness. So if you're noticing that frustration coming up in a business meeting, or even you're talking one-on-one with somebody, just excuse yourself to the bathroom. That's a perfect way to step away. And even if you just go to the bathroom and wash your hands, you just say to the person, excuse me, I need to go to the bathroom, right? You're not saying that I need to urinate or I need to defecate. You don't necessarily need that, but you do need to go to the bathroom. That's what you need. Excuse me for a moment. I need to go to the bathroom. And now you just excuse yourself to the bathroom. Maybe you go in there, you gain your composure, you take a few breaths, you wash your hands a little bit. This will kind of redirect your mind a little bit. Now you have your calmness back. You can think through what it is that you're about to make decisions on in this meeting. And now you can go back into the meeting, right? Also, when you're in a meeting, don't feel like you have to hurry up and make decisions in that meeting. Sometimes meetings are just information gathering sessions where you're just gathering information. You think about that for a few days or maybe a week or two, and then you come back and make decisions later. You can do this too, since we were talking about children yesterday and guiding children. You can do this with children too. You can sit down and talk with your children, find out about a certain situation, and then step away and think about it, about how you would like to deal with the situation. You don't have to hurry up and make a decision in the heat of the moment. So if you're going to get to this wise decision making, you would like to take your time. Your mind's craving is going to want you to go. Hurry up. It's trying to get to those pleasant feelings. But if you can restrain your mind and slow it down, then you can make more wise decisions. So that's what you would like to be able to do, is practice this calmness and composure, this evenness of temper, this equanimity, this calmness. So you'll have mindfulness or awareness of mind. Then you can have focus and concentration, and you can access your wisdom. The Eightfold Path is something that you're going to need to practice at work exactly the way that I've taught it to you. You're going to need to dial that in closer and closer, not only in your personal life, but in your professional life too. But once you understand the Eightfold Path, there's things that you can take from this Eightfold Path that are underlying teachings that are guiding you to enlightenment, and you can apply them in your work environment too. Not just applying them as the Buddha taught them, but you can extrapolate certain lessons that apply to your work environment. Here's what I mean by that. Right view, at the core of that is, yes, that it's craving, desire, attachment that's causing your discontentedness. But at the core of that, what he's teaching you is to accept responsibility for your own intentions, your own speech, your actions, your feelings. He's teaching you that your mind is what's causing these discontent feelings. Well, you can apply this same aspect to your work environment, to accept responsibility for the projects and assignments that it's given to you. Don't just kind of fluff it off to somebody else. That if you're given a certain project or assignment, that you take responsibility for that, because everything that is experienced in your day-to-day life is a result of your decisions. That's essentially what right view is helping you to be able to get to, is that you're not blaming other people for the feelings and emotions that you have, that you understand they're coming from your own mind. That's what the Buddha is teaching you in terms of getting to enlightenment. But you can apply that to your work as well, as accepting responsibility for your projects. Don't allow the mind to just kind of fluff it off to somebody else, because people like it when you accept responsibility and you take a project all the way to the finish line. Then when the Buddha is teaching you right intention, right speech, right action, and right livelihood, these are essential practices that you're going to need to be practicing at all times during your day. Remember the intention of renunciation, non-ill will, and harmlessness. That's right intention. Right speech, the Buddha is teaching you to eliminate lying, slander, harsh speech, frivolous speech. He's teaching you to the 5 factors of well-spoken speech, speaking at the proper time, what you say is true, gentle, beneficial, with a mind of loving kindness. He also taught you right action, which is not causing harm through your bodily actions. The ones that he's showing you is killing, stealing, and sexual misconduct, but you really need to apply this to all parts of your day, right? So you wouldn't just go into someone's office and use their pins and stapler and their sticky notes and their computer and things like this without asking them. You would like to ask and make sure that they're okay with you using these things, right? Then there's right livelihood, which we were just talking about. So you're going to need to practice those in your day-to-day work, as well as the mental discipline section of right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. That's going to help you to function in your livelihood with an optimized mind. That, say you're in a business meeting and your mind is wandering, thinking about something else, you're going to need to have mindfulness to see that your mind's wandering, and then apply right effort to cut that off and let it go and bring your mind back to the business meeting, because that's the thing that you're doing now. And that's what's going to produce benefits in your professional life, is applying your effort in the business meeting, not thinking about what you're going to do on the weekend, or not thinking about this vacation you're going to take 3 months from now. That's not going to help you in this situation that you're in right now, which is the business meeting. So you're going to need to apply this mental discipline at work as well. And that's what's going to help you to fine-tune your mind and perform optimally even in your work environment as well. Okay, so this is the Eightfold Path, how you can extrapolate it and use it in your work environment. So any questions on this topic of applying the teachings in the workplace? No questions? Okay, let me see if we have anything online here. Okay, I don't see any questions online either. All right, so I'm going to move right into this next topic of the art of the friendly no, how to say no without saying no. This will only take me probably 5 or 10 minutes to teach it to you, but it's very impactful if you practice it, because as I shared with you, the Buddha is helping you not only to train your mind to eliminate craving, desire, attachment, cultivate wisdom, eliminate those discontent feelings, but he's teaching you how to have the wisdom to navigate the world of a bunch of unenlightened beings. So when the Buddha is teaching you about things like not stealing and not using things without permission and things like this, like if you just walked in and started using people's stapler at work, for example, they can be attached to their stapler, right? And now when they're attached to their stapler, they see you using it and they're like, hey, what are you doing? You're using my stapler. And now they get angry, they get frustrated. They're attributing those painful feelings to you because they don't understand the Four Noble Truths. And now they're going to push you away. They're going to be bitter, harsh, and hostile, or they're going to put their expectations on you and try to control you. So while you will understand that other people are causing their discontentedness, they don't understand that. So now you're navigating a world where you have wisdom that other people don't know. And you can't sit there and explain it to this person. You can't be like, hey, look, I was just using your stapler. It's no big deal. The company paid for the stapler. It's not your stapler. It doesn't belong to you. That anger that you have, that's from your craving desire. You're not going to have time to do this, and you can't do this because that would be giving someone unsolicited guidance, right? But your mind's going to know these kinds of things. So the Buddha is teaching you how to navigate the world where people have all this craving, desire, attachment. So even though other people are causing their discontentedness, it's nice to be around people who aren't discontent, right? And you can get to a point where about 99.9% of the time, you're navigating the world in ways that people aren't getting discontent around you. If you're practicing these teachings closely, the vast majority of the people around you, they're not going to be getting discontent around you in the way that you're practicing the teachings. But there's going to be that rare occasion where people will still get discontent, but you'll know that they're actually causing their own discontentedness. So this topic of the art of the friendly no, how to say no without saying no, is a way to navigate the world and get to a point where people's minds aren't getting triggered for their cravings, desires, attachments, and it will help you to have more wholesome relationships and more harmonious relationships with the people around you. So there's going to be situations where people invite you to things, right? Whether it's in the work environment or in your personal life, people might say, hey, I'm having this party this weekend. Would you like to come to this party, right? Or they might say, hey, I need to borrow some money. Can I borrow some money from you, right? You might hear these kinds of things, and you're going to need to say no in some of these situations. But if you say no, hard stop, I'm not coming to your party, or no, you cannot borrow my money, their craving, desire, attachment to get your money, or their craving, desire, attachment to have you come to the party gets triggered, and now you're not coming to their party. They hear that from you, and this is disagreeable to their mind, and now their painful feelings arise. They start getting angry, they start getting frustrated, and now they're either going to push you aside as a friend, or they're going to be bitter and harsh and hostile to you, or they're going to start trying to pressure you. Come on, man, I really want you to come to my party. Like, it's going to be great. All of our friends are going to be there. Like, come on, you can do this, you can do that, right? So you're going to have these kinds of situations. Or someone comes to you who's a really good friend who wants to borrow your money, and you say, no, you can't borrow my money. Well, maybe they're craving to buy this thing, or they're craving for something. And now when they hear that no from you, it arises anger in their mind. And they don't realize that that anger is coming from their own mind. So this topic of the art of the friendly no, how to say no without saying no, is a way to help this person to understand that you're not going to be doing what it is that they're asking you to do, but kind of letting them down softly, where they don't hear that hard stop no. So here's what I mean by this. Let's just say somebody said, hey, David, can you come to my party this weekend? I'd really like you to come to my party. We're going to have this great party. I'd like you to come. Instead of just saying, no, I won't come to your party, or no, I can't come to your party, I might say, hey, thank you so much for the invitation. I really appreciate that. If I'm able to come, I will let you know. Right? I haven't said no. right? It's the art of the friendly no, how to say no without saying no, right? So you can do these kinds of things where you're not saying the word no. If someone said, hey, David, can I borrow $1,000 from you? I might say, oh, thank you for thinking of me as being a close friend, that you feel comfortable to ask me to borrow money. That really means a lot to me. I'm going to need to check my finances. And if I'm able to let you borrow money, I will let you know. Right? So I never said no. Right? So you're going to need to be able to be creative in these situations when people are asking you these things. This is a way to ensure that you're not giving that hard stop no, and then now their craving, desire, attachment gets triggered. They become angry or frustrated or some other discontent feeling, and now they're going to push you away. They're going to be bitter, harsh, and hostile, or they're going to put their expectations on you and try to control you. So the problem here is that the unenlightened mind doesn't typically like to hear the word no. Right? Doesn't like that word, or other variations like can't, don't, won't. It doesn't like that. So the solution is that it's best to not use these words when possible and communicate in a different way that is a little bit more smooth, a little bit more skillful, so that this person's mind is less likely to become discontent. Because even if you say what I just shared, where it's like, hey, I really appreciate that you've invited me to your party. I'm going to check my schedule and let you know if I can come. Right? They might say, oh, can you just tell me now? Like, come on. I really want you to come. You can see their craving, their longing, yearning, and wanting you to be there. Like, come on, David, I'll give you a place to share the teachings of the Buddha. You can like sit in the middle of the party while everybody's drinking alcohol, and you can share the teachings of the Buddha. It's like they're like really craving for you to come, right? They're really longing, yearning for this, right? So you're going to need to figure out a way to kind of maneuver so that you let them down softly and easily, right? So just because you're sharing what it is that I'm sharing with you, if you say those things, it doesn't mean they're just going to magically snap and let go of asking you to come. So you might need to say the same thing in multiple ways. So there's different examples, right? There's an invitation to a party, there's borrowing money, but maybe you guys have some examples from your life where you would like me to help you with this. So if you have examples from your life that you would like me to help you with understanding how you can navigate this, you can let me know. I'm just going to give you some time to be able to ask questions about this if you like. So do you guys have any questions on this or any examples you'd like help with? Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. Something with kids? Yeah.
I want my phone.
I want my phone.
It's my time to play. It's my time to play. It's
And what would you rather be doing in that situation? Having them do homework or something like that?
Not even, just finding a way to be creative. Building. He used to love at some point building Legos. Anything other than slouching.
Okay.
Couch.
So, hey, I realize you really are interested in playing with your phone right now, but that's not something that we're doing. At this point, we need to find something more creative. Let's play with some Legos instead, right? So you move, instead of, no, you can't have your phone, right? Because that's like a hard stop. You'd like to just kind of redirect them towards something else. I've changed my mind. This is impermanence. That, yes, 3 hours ago, I thought that you'd be able to use your phone now, but based on where things are now, we need to go ahead and move towards the Legos because this is going to be so much better for your mind at this particular time. Let's play with that. And depending on how we do with the Legos, maybe there's an opportunity for you to play with your phone later in the day. But let's play with the Legos first and see how that goes. So I never said the word no, right? Never said the word no. Right? Now, there are definitely certain times in your life where you're going to need to say no, right? If someone touches you in a sexually provocative way, you need to say, no, don't touch me there, right? You're going to need to say the word no in certain situations. But what I'm talking about is not those situations, right? These are, 99.9% of the other situations. Kala has a question or something to ask. She always does.
I was thinking, because I've been trying to eat not eat meat since the last month. And it's been easy because I've been by myself. But I know whenever I go back home, they will try to pressure me to eat meat. It's very ingrained in their brains. And I don't know how to approach it to say no to those times.
Oh, thank you so much for offering me that food. I'm going to eat these plant-based food over here, but I really appreciate that you've offered that to me. That's really nice of you that you've prepared that, but I eat plant-based food now.
Okay.
And they're like, oh, come on, I made it special for you. It took me 3 hours to make it. Oh, that's so kind of you. Maybe there's somebody else in the family that would enjoy that, but I'm going to eat this over here. Right? You kind of send them in a different direction because they're longing, yearning for you to eat that food. Right? And now this is part of the education process that people are going to learn about the decisions that you make. And you're not saying that, hey, I expect you to do it for me this way. You're just saying, hey, I'm going to do this over here. And now in the future, if they'd like to make you food, they'll figure out plant-based recipes to be able to make you food, if that's what they would like to do. Yeah. Okay, you guys understanding? Yeah, so you can try this out. Maybe some of you guys are already using this. I don't know if you remember, Gala, you invited me to your theater production earlier in the week. And I said, oh, thank you so much. That sounds like a lot of fun. I usually go home and rest because I have a class coming up in the evening and I'm going to need to get some rest in order to prepare for my class this evening. I never said the word no to you, right? But I really appreciated the invitation. Right? It was really nice of you to invite me, to think of me, to invite me. But I never said the word no to you, right? In your mind, I don't think was upset. Yeah, see? You weren't upset. Maybe you weren't craving it to begin with, right? But you never know. You never know what's in somebody else's mind. They could have a craving. You don't even know it, right? So that's why you would like to practice these kinds of things. Yes, sir.
How you can do when someone proposes, for example, to go a specific restaurant and you don't want to go? How you can say polite that you don't want or propose an alternative for how you will do it.
Hey, that really sounds fun to go to that restaurant. You guys have a good time. I'm going to be over here doing this, right? Or whatever it is. You guys have a great time. I'll see you another time. Hey, thanks for the invitation. That's really kind of you to invite me to the restaurant. You guys have a great time. I'm going to be over here doing this. So simple, so easy.
Sometimes I try to adapt, or maybe I don't want to eat that specific food, but I go, and it's I don't know, it's a bit uncomfortable to be looking other people eating. I don't think that it's a craving at all, but it's like I don't like it. So.
This is one of the things that people get their mind conditioned, is that they know that when someone invites them to something, if they say no, the person will get angry. And now you, being attached to them or not wanting to deal with their anger, you just say, okay, I'll come, right? Even though you don't want to go, you're not interested to go, you still go instead. And now you have a miserable time perhaps when you're going to this particular thing. This is what people tend to do, is their mind's conditioned to understand like, oh my goodness, this guy's going to get mad if I say no and I can't go and I don't want to deal with his anger. So let me just go to this thing. And now you feel miserable going to this thing, right? And that's what you're trying to avoid, is you would like to get to a point where you're always making decisions that you feel comfortable with, that you're not just conforming to go out to this party or this restaurant just because you're not interested to deal with this person's anger, right? That's what you would like to avoid. So by doing this, 99.9% of the time, you'll be just fine, but they could still get angry, right? You can't control whether someone else gets angry. One time I was sitting here teaching and a student asked me a question about the wars in Israel and Ukraine. And one of the things that I said is, oh, it's really unfortunate that these wars exist. And then I just kind of like helped them to understand how to not have craving for the world, for the war to be a certain way and stuff like, or for the world to be a certain way. And another student heard me say the word unfortunate in relationship to the war. And they thought that I should be angry and that I should be condemning the war. And I should have really strong language towards different sides of the war and stuff like this. And they got angry. They caused themselves to get angry and they got up and left. I didn't cause that anger. That was them having an expectation that because they're angry about the war, that I should be angry about the war, and that I should be condemning some side of the war. I'm not going to condemn anything. That would be to judge other people. So while you can learn to speak with right speech and you can do things like this, and 99.9% of the time, it'll be just fine and people around you won't have their cravings, desires, attachments triggered. You can have somebody like this that just hearing the word unfortunate as relationship to the war, she had an expectation that I should be just as angry about the war as she is, and I'm not angry. That's doesn't involve me. The war doesn't involve me. I don't need to be angry about the war or the two wars that were going on at that time. So you'll have people that even in using this, they could still get angry. They'll be like, oh, come on, man. If you don't go, I'm going to get so frustrated. Like, you got to come. When you hear that, that's even more reason not to go. Because the more they're craving for you to go, if you just give into that craving, they're going to constantly do this. They're going to constantly pressure you to do the things that they want you to do. And now you're going to have a real problem on your hands because it's not just them. It's the people around them that are going to hear that too. And they're like, wow, this guy can be pressured into doing things my way. So let me just keep pressuring him until he does things my way. Whereas if you get in the habit of you've made a decision and you stick with it and you don't waver on that decision, people come to understand that about you. And when you make decisions, they will just accept it on face value. But if they can see that you can be pressured into changing your decision and your decisions waver, they will continue to do that to you. So you're always teaching people around you how to interact with you in one way or another. So you would like to always be practicing where you've thought through your decisions, you make a decision, and you stick with it, and your mind doesn't waver on that decision for something like this in the present moment.
How you can differentiate the things that you have to let it go or not, for example, because I'm thinking maybe that situation where I don't feel comfortable because the other person is sitting and not me, because I don't want to do that kind of plan, is because I need to let it go, that sensation. And it's thinking, it's confusing, like, because between if it's something that is inside me and I have to improve, because it should not affect me anyways if I go to the restaurant and I don't like to eat that food, or I have to be looking the other person. I don't know where is the limit between let it go and maybe taking wise decisions for you. That is a bit
right. So that's another part of this conversation, right? So the first part of the conversation is making sure that you're not wavering in your decisions, you're confident in your decisions, and you're not giving in to other people's cravings, allowing them to pressure you to do things that they want you to do. That's wise. But then the other part of this conversation is that, if you have a craving to the point where when you sit there and watch people eat, you are uncomfortable, you would like to eliminate that craving. And the way that you eliminate that craving is you need to go do it. You need to sit in front of people while they're eating and you're not eating. And this is going to train your mind to let it go. So you need to decide in any given situation, what is the approach that you're going to take. If someone's pressuring you to do things their way, absolutely don't do that, because you're just teaching them to keep pressuring you. So in a situation where someone's inviting you out to eat and they're like, hey, would you like to go eat? And you're like, no, I'm fine. They're like, okay, no worries, I'm going to go eat. And then that might be where you're like, hey, you know what? On second thought, I would like to come with you, right? Because now you see that they're completely comfortable to eat without you and they're going off to eat without you. And now you're like, hey, on second thought, I'd like to come eat with you. I'm not going to eat, but I'm just going to come and have a chat. Is that okay with you? And they're like, yeah, sure. And like, okay, great. Now you go to the restaurant and you're sitting there while they're eating, right? So you've already overcome and seen that they don't have craving for you to eat with them. And now you can feel comfortable to go eliminate your craving, which is watching somebody eat.
I understand now, because sometimes the other person have this expectation that you have to eat with him, and that is when I have that. So maybe it's better to have this conversation and understand if the other person has the expectation. So
Yeah.
you don't fit that expectation, right?
Yeah, you're not interested in feeding other people's expectations. In fact, there's been situations where people have tried to put expectations on me in the past, and even though what they're suggesting could be actually really beneficial for me, I'll do just the opposite, just so that their expectation doesn't get fulfilled and that they can learn, like, hey, David's not going to follow what I say. He's making his own decisions. So I'm not going to make an unwise decision, but I'm not going to make the decision that they're trying to get me to make and they're trying to pressure me to make, just so that they can learn, like, hey, I'm not going to pressure this guy because he's not going to do what I'm interested in. He's going to do just the opposite of that. Right.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome. Yes, ma'am.
Can you revisit what you just talked about in people's responses that would illustrate to me where the mental object is?
The mental object here is sensual desire. That's the fetter. Because remember, we're talking about the mental objects as always the fetters when we're talking about the 4 foundations of mindfulness. So there's that sensual desire that the mind is longing, yearning to bring you to the party or have you come to the party, or the mind is longing, yearning for the money and borrowing the money. Anything you can see, hear, smell, taste, touch, or any thoughts or ideas that go through the mind, whenever you're longing, yearning through that, that's sensual desire. So whenever we talk about craving, desire, attachment, for the most part, it's sensual desire. But then there are specific types of cravings, like personal existence view, or desire for form, desire for formless, or conceit has a certain amount of craving, desire, attachment embedded in that as well. But by and large, whenever we talk craving, desire, attachment, wants and expectations, it's sensual desire. And when those aren't getting fulfilled, that's when the ill will arises, that 5th fetter. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're welcome. We have something coming in here on Facebook. I think it's... I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your first name, but the last name is Wang. Thanks, Teacher David. I feel the information is really practical and helpful. Just wondering, I have many cravings about food, but I understand it is healthy to eat less sweets, spicy food. I'm not sure if this craving will affect my mind to be enlightened. Every craving, any and all craving, is going to affect your mind. That if you can't be happy unless you have a certain type of food, that means that your mind can't be happy permanently. Because if you eat a different type of food, you're frustrated or agitated or annoyed or bored or something like this. So you're going to need to eliminate any and all cravings. So with food, what you would like to do is, if you're having pleasant feelings, let's see, you're talking about sweets and spicy food. If you're used to eating sweets and spicy food and you get all these pleasant feelings when you have that, but then when you eat something more bland or sour or something like this, you feel frustrated and agitated, you would like to start eating bland and sour foods occasionally, introducing that into your tongue so that your mind can now get acclimated to this, that this sweet and spicy food is not permanent. And now you're consciously making the choice to have some different types of food and expose the mind to that. And now the mind can get more and more comfortable with that. And eventually, as you train your mind to eliminate its sensual desire around food, you'll be able to eat just whatever food that you would like to eat. But in those situations where you get food that isn't to what you prefer to eat, your mind can still be peaceful. You can still be content. And in most situations, even when your mind's enlightened, you're going to be eating food that you really enjoy. But occasionally you're going to have food that's like, wow, this isn't the taste that I prefer, but I can still eat it and I can still be joyful. I'm not repulsed by this food, because that's what will happen when you get a certain flavor on your tongue that is disagreeable to you. That when you have craving, desire, attachment, you're going to see this flavor as disagreeable and you're going to be repulsed by it. It's going to be like, that's horrible. I don't even want to touch that food ever. Those situations, you need to eat that food and train your mind and expose it to that flavor so that it can get to a point where it's just as content and peaceful eating the sweet and spicy food as it is the bland and sour food as well. And then the same individual has some more here. They say, my mom loves to live with, my friend's mom loves to live with her. She's 28 years old in a studio on the same bed, but my friend really needs some space. It sounds crazy, but she said in my mom's mind, if I said no, that means I don't love her. So I have to live with her, but she starts to harm herself. I want to help her, but not sure how. So the only way that somebody can get help in improving the condition of their mind is they need to decide themselves to actively learn and practice the teachings. So your friend would need to learn the teachings, and your friend's mom would need to learn the teachings. You actually can't fix this for them. They need to choose to learn and practice. So you can give them a book as a gift, or you can send them a video from the resources that I share that's going to help them to start learning the Four Noble Truths, because that's what they need to learn. Because choosing not to sleep with someone doesn't mean you don't love them. Like me and my wife, of course, we used to sleep in the same bed, but now we have two separate rooms. We live in two separate rooms. She has her own bedroom and I have my own bedroom, and it works out better for us that way. But I still love my wife and she still loves me, right? Love isn't a function of whether you sleep together or not. So mom's mind is conditioned to think that if we don't sleep together, we don't love each other. And this is just the mind's misperception, that it's clinging to this perception, and it needs to be able to understand what is true love in order to be able to do that. So in chapter 15 of the first book, I share the topic of true love, and I taught this Wednesday, and it was recorded, so you can always learn that and share that with your friends. But ultimately, if they're going to experience improvement in their life, they need to choose to learn and practice. You can't change them. They need to decide that they would like to do something different than what they're currently doing. She says, I think it's a she, thank you, really appreciate it. I'll try bitter food and send the link in the book to my friend. Yeah, you're welcome. Pleased to help you. Okay, I don't see any other questions anywhere. Nothing else here? Okay, so our course is now coming to an end, where what I'm going to do is just say thank you to all of you guys for your interest to learn and grow and develop. There's a lot of material here in this course, and I can't imagine that any of you have learned it all. Whenever you go through a learning experience, what research tells us is that you learn about 10% of what there is being offered the first time through. And then as you learn a second time, you learn maybe 30, 40, 50% of what's actually being offered in that learning experience. And then when you do it a third time, you're up to kind of like 80%, 90%. So these types of courses, you're going to need to learn more than one time. You're going to need to read these books more than one time. You're going to need to learn the Eightfold Path more than one time. So these are things that you don't have to put pressure on yourself to go out there today and develop harmonious relationships, because that's what this course has been about, is developing harmonious relationships. You're not going to be able to acquire enough wisdom in 5 days to go out there and now have harmonious relationships. You're going to need to take whatever you learned here and apply that, and it will help you and it will improve certain aspects of your relationships, but you're going to need to learn more and more and more. And you're going to need to practice the meditations and generosity and all these other things. So there's more for you to learn beyond this. And that's where I have this next topic of continued support on the path to enlightenment, is to help you guys understand that there's continued support for you. And the way that you can integrate these teachings into your day-to-day life is by attending classes either in person or online on a regular, ongoing basis. It would be really wise for you to do that, because that's what's going to help to kind of trickle the teachings into your mind. There's this book that you can be learning slowly but surely, 10 to 20 minutes a day, just reading a little by little. And remember, you can get it for free on our website. You can take it and go print it. You can get printed versions here by reimbursing us for the printing cost, or you can order it on Amazon. This first book is going to help you to really lay down a really strong foundation. And there's classes every Sunday and Wednesday that I'm walking you through this book slowly but surely. This Sunday, we're going to be in chapter 4, which is really part of the heart of the book. Chapter 3 through 11 is like the heart of the book. So we're kind of in the heart of the program now. So it's an excellent time to be able to join this program. So you can just gradually, slowly but surely learn and be reading the book. Then you would like to, on a daily basis, be practicing generosity, where you're giving and sharing with the people around you. This is going to train your mind to let go and not cling and hold on and be selfish. Because if you never actually practice generosity, your mind would be quite selfish and it would be holding on and you'd have a lot of craving, desire, attachment. But when you're practicing living open-handedly with generosity, it's enhancing the quality of your mind. But you also need to make sure you're not practicing generosity excessively, because otherwise you're not going to have what you need to be able to sustain your life. So you're going to need to come to the middle, even with something like generosity, sharing your time, effort, energy, and resources without any expectation of anything in return. This is going to help to enhance the quality of your mind and train your mind to let go and not have craving, desire, attachment. Then you're going to need to improve your moral conduct. There's probably certain moral conduct that you have right now that is unwise. You might be talking harsh or bitter or hostile in certain situations. You might be aggressive or resentful. You might be using wrong intention, wrong speech, wrong action. There might be a wrong livelihood, some aspects of your livelihood. So you're going to need to improve your moral conduct. The Buddha teaches you to pay attention to this every single day, improving your moral conduct. It's kind of like if you had a pipe that busted and was spewing oil all over the world. You're not going to go clean up the spill on the floor first. You're going to shut down the oil pipe so it's not continuing to spew oil all over the world. So it's the same kind of thing, is that when you're putting out unwholesome moral conduct, you're spewing oil into the world, and you're going to have to deal with this at some point. So the sooner you can shut that down, the better. Then you would like to be practicing meditation 2 or 3 times a day, 30 minutes a session. It can take 6 months, a year, even 2 years to build up to this. So don't put pressure on yourself. You're in your own journey. You're not in a race or a competition with anybody. So build it up, but take your time. Don't feel like you're in a race. And then as you need help, feel free to seek help from your teacher. If you would like me to guide you on the path, I'm surely pleased to do that. You can get help with me in 4 different ways. You can ask questions in live classes, whether you're here or online. You can post in our Facebook group, and I will help you there. You can send me a private message, and I will reply to your private message. Or you can schedule personal guidance, either in person or online, and I will meet you one-on-one, and I will help you. Because it's one thing to learn in these classes, but it's another thing to apply it to your day-to-day life. And you're going to have day-to-day situations that you need help. I will never tell you what you should or shouldn't do. I'll just give you advice based on the teachings of the Buddha. And I'll say, hey, this is what the Buddha teaches. These are some other options that you can consider. These are all the different ways that you might approach it, but it's ultimately your decision of how you do things in your life. I'm like an advisor. I'm like a life coach, just giving you guidance about the teachings of the Buddha, but it's your decisions that are going to lead to any particular result. So this is the way you can slowly integrate the teachings into your life. Be attending classes, either in person or online, regularly, in-depth learning opportunities as needed, gradually reading the book, then practicing generosity, moral conduct, and meditation, and seeking guidance as needed. And in terms of what I offer to be able to help you guys with this, is there's books, audiobooks, videos, podcasts, quizzes. These are all available from our website at no cost. You can learn in person and online classes, courses, and retreats. It's all accessible from our website. And we have these 2 ongoing programs. The group learning program is each Sunday and Wednesday at either 9 a.m. or 9 p.m. So no matter where you are, if you look at your time zone, there's 2 live classes. And they're both the same, but I teach it twice a day so that all the time zones around the world are able to access it. And where you can't attend a live class, they're recorded, so you could just watch it on our YouTube channel, listen to it on our podcast, or watch it on our Facebook in our Facebook group. So usually students will complete the group learning program at least once. That's a 7-month program that gradually walks you through the teachings of the first book. And then the words of the Buddha, the Path to Enlightenment, or the Pali Canon English Study Group. This is volumes 2 through 13. This is taught on Saturdays at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. So these 2 programs together will help you to learn this entire book series and build up your practice really strong. Then, as I mentioned, there's personal guidance that is in person or online. You can meet with me face-to-face in person, or we can meet online. It's up to you. If you'd like to meet in person, just send me a message if we're in the same town, and you can schedule something with me. If you'd like to meet online, just go to our website. There's an app there that you can schedule right online, and we'll be able to meet in Zoom. And then we have a Facebook group where students ask questions, and I'm the only one who answers them. Sometimes students go in there and read other students' questions, and they read the answers because they learn that way too. And and I make regular posts in there. So if you'd like to join Facebook, or if you're in Facebook, you can join this Facebook group, and you'll be able to get help through that Facebook group as well. So the times for these programs are 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Sunday and Wednesday for the group learning program. And then the Pali Canon in the study group is Saturday at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. So do you guys have any questions on all these learning opportunities? It's all available to you at no cost. There's nothing standing in your way to get to enlightenment other than your own effort and energy. Oh, that's all you need to do. Just apply that, right? I've made everything available to you. I've removed all the obstacles, even the obstacle of being in Chiang Mai. You can be anywhere in the world and still learn. That wasn't the case during the lifetime of the Buddha, right? I've had people on remote islands off the coast of Africa send me messages. They're like, David, our island doesn't even have a library, but I have access to your books through your website. Thank you so much for making them available, right? People all over the world can learn these teachings, okay? All right, so I don't see any questions anywhere. So I'm just going to end the class by thanking you guys for, once again, deciding to learn and practice these teachings, because, it's really easy to show up to a place and just believe a bunch of things, but then your life gets harder afterwards because you don't have the wisdom of how to guide your life. But it's a lot more challenging to come to a place like this, spend your time to learn and think about what it is that's being shared, change your thinking about how you used to do things, and now there's this new, better way of life that's being shared with you. It's really challenging to do that. But then life is easier afterwards because now you have the wisdom of how to lead your life. So I really admire people who take the time and dedication and effort and energy to apply to be able to learn and grow and develop as a person, because that's what this path is. It's about becoming a better and better human being. It's about becoming a better individual who's functioning in the world that is harmless, that you're not causing harm to other beings. So I always admire people who choose to come and learn and practice and understand the teachings of the Buddha and integrate them into their day-to-day life. So I always like to end my classes by just thanking the students for your effort and energy to apply, to learn and grow and become a better and better human being. I'd also like to thank you for any generosity that you've practiced while you're here. Students, yesterday I saw a couple of you guys filling up our snack area. I'm sure some of you guys might have taken out the trash or swept or vacuumed or something like this, or just cared for our space and making sure that we take care of this space, because this space doesn't belong to me. It's not my classroom, right? It's a temple environment that, this temple doesn't belong to anybody, but yet it belongs to everybody. We all take care of it. The Thai people have entrusted me with this space to take care of it, and the students help out with that. And I always like the Thai people to be able to see that they've made a wise decision by entrusting us with this space, because at one time this place was really run down. We actually completely remodeled it about 6 months ago. We gutted the whole place and redid the whole entire place. That's why it looks so brand new, because it was just redone, right? This was like a really nice project that our community did, is that we made this place better for not only us, but people long into the future. If you saw the pictures of the way this place looked before, it was really run down. And now it just absolutely looks beautiful and stunning. So thank you guys for taking care of this place, because it helps the Thai people to see that they've made a wise decision to entrust us with this space. So I'd like to thank you for any generosity that you've practiced, or if you've placed some funds in the donation box to help me be able to pay for water and electric and all the things that we do here. So thank you for your efforts. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you for your interest to learn and grow and develop in these teachings. And at the same time, I would like to give you guys just a little bit of a gift. If you guys would like it, you're more than welcome to accept it. These pictures that you see of the Buddha that I use everywhere, this is actually what the Buddha looked like during his lifetime. And I like to give away a picture at the end of class so that you guys can have this picture, because I like to humanize a Buddha so that you can see that he was human just like you and I. And just like he got to enlightenment, you can too. These statues that you see, that's not what the Buddha looked like during his life. He didn't wear a crown on his head. He didn't walk around with these royal clothes. He wore very simple robes like this, and he shaved his head just like a human being might shave their head. These statues were actually created long after the death of the Buddha, that the people who started creating them, they didn't actually live during the lifetime of the Buddha, so they didn't know what he actually looked like. This artist who did this artwork, he looked at the description of what the Buddha was described to have appeared like during his lifetime from the original teachings, and then they did this artwork to be able to make him appear the way he looked in the original teachings, his description. So this is what I know that the Buddha looks like during his lifetime, or looked like during his lifetime. So I like to give out pictures, and I have them over here. They're, kind of like this big and kind of like this wide. And if you'd like to put one of these up in your place, or you'd like to give it away to someone else, up to you. But if you hang it up, maybe it can serve as a reminder for you to meditate. When you see it, you're like, oh yeah, that's right, let me meditate. Or maybe you're on your phone to your mom and you're about to get into an argument and you look at it and you're like, oh, right speech, speak gentle. Okay, maybe it'll help you a little bit with your practice. So if you'd like one of these, I have plenty of them rolled up over here, and they just happen to look like a diploma rolled up. So you might think of it that way as well. And I also have these other ones too, which are this poster. They're smaller versions of them. I don't have any rolled up, but we can roll them up, and I have rubber bands. So if you guys would like one of these and or one of those, you're welcome to have one, and just give it to you as a gift to help you in your practice, and also practice more generosity with you. I really enjoy sharing these teachings and practicing generosity to be able to help you guys to be able to learn and grow and develop, because the very best thing you could ever experience in your life is getting to enlightenment. If you get to enlightenment, it will absolutely be the best thing that you've ever experienced in your entire life. Your mind will be completely peaceful, calm, serene, and content with joy permanently. You will no longer experience any of those discontent feelings. All the anger, sadness, frustration, all the heartache and misery and despair that you've experienced, you can put all that behind you. So if you would like help in learning how to do that and continuing to grow and develop, I'm very motivated to be able to help you to do that. So once again, thank you guys, and appreciate everything. If you guys wouldn't mind maybe helping out a little bit here, just to kind of spruce up the classroom for the students who are coming in after you, that would be great. But don't feel like you have to. I don't expect you to. But if you might be interested to help out with some trash or sweeping or cleaning of the bathrooms or anything like that, that'll help the classrooms be nice for the next group of people that come in. And if you guys would like to go have a group lunch together, I can maybe suggest some restaurants for you guys, or if you guys have a suggestion, we could maybe go have lunch together if you guys would like to do something like that. Okay, so whatever you choose to do today, have a wonderful and lovely rest of your day, and perhaps we'll see you next time. Sawadee Kap. Sawadee Kap.